Hello everyone, my name is Tom Pauza. I am 30 years old and I had a traumatic brain injury in 2016. It was in Durango, Colorado. It happened June 25th of 2016. Durango, Colorado, which is right next to Four Corners. I got a job out there with Social Security Administration, moved out there, and was out there for about less than, I don't know, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, not too long. I was road biking, because I used to be a big cyclist, mountain biker, road biker, all that stuff. And I got hit by a car. The car ran over my head. And yeah, they pulled over. I was told this, I don't remember any of this, but I was told that the driver who hit me pulled over, and I was still conscious at the time, and I told them to go away. I'm sure I swore them off or something. And they drove off, and then a little bit further down the road, I passed out face down, and another driver drove past and saw me, and they pulled over and called 911, and then my whole hospital, that story started. The details of the accident, I don't know who did it. The only location I have is I know I was in Durango, and I bounced around hospitals around northern New Mexico, ended up in Denver. But as to who did it, don't know, because they drove off. So the person that found me didn't hit me. Yeah. And I wasn't capable of telling them, oh, the license plate was this, it was this type of car. The only thing they guessed based upon my injury was that it might have been a pickup truck. That's kind of as many details as they could gather. But I was wearing a helmet, and the helmet got crushed. But I've actually thought about this quite a few times, wondering how did I survive a car running over my head? And my only estimation is that maybe the helmet absorbed just enough of the impact to let me survive it. I don't really know what else to pull from that, but that's kind of the only conclusion I can gather. Yeah, and then I don't remember anything about this. I've literally lost years of memory. I kind of remember as far back as, I would say probably 3 years, 4 years, I just can't remember. Yeah, in 2014, I came back. I'm a Peace Corps volunteer, so I came back from my Peace Corps stint in South Africa, and I was in Vermont with my family because I didn't have a place to live and all that. And then I got this job in Colorado, and I moved out there, and that's when all this happened. So my memory is, I can remember details of South Africa because it was a pretty significant thing to do. So I remember where I lived, the names of my friends, all that kind of thing. And a little bit of the language I spoke. I was never very good at it, but I can say a few things. Yeah, but as to the year that this happened, things I did, maybe contests I went to, or just kind of more trivial stuff, nothing. It's like a blank slate, I don't know. Yeah, and as for how it's changed me thus far, I don't really have a very good short-term memory. It works maybe 10% of the time, but I have to write stuff down and that sort of thing, and I have all methods to make up for it. But yeah, I'm definitely more reliant on things like a notebook and my phone calendar and just stuff like that. Yeah. And in terms of other maybe not dealing with my injury, things that have changed for me, I definitely appreciate the small stuff more. Just kind of casual, hi, how are you? Kind of basic things like that. Or if I go over to a friend's house and it's a very, more nice of a time than usual, that kind of weighs a little more on me now. In a good way. It used to just be, before this accident happened, I'd hang out with a friend or whatever, oh, it was great fun, whatever. But now it's kind of sticks to me a little longer. It's oh, he said some really nice things to me, or she did some cool stuff. It kind of means more. And all sorts of things. I work for the Howard Center. I do community support work at a group home, so I work one-on-one with Howard Center clients. And if the client I'm with that day has a really good day, it definitely means a lot more to me than, which I used to work for the Howard Center doing similar work, and it still did mean a lot to me then, but it kind of sticks with me now. Just kind of see the small things, they add up kind of getting to these like really big, great conclusions.
Yeah.
And I used to get ultra frustrated with people, and I don't do that anymore. And that was probably, I don't know, a year and a half, where people could say like, "Hi, how are you?" in the wrong tone of voice, and I would cuss them out. It was bad.
Yeah.
But thank God that those days are done. And I would say the most significant thing out of all of this, to me personally, in a non-medical sense, other than the fact that I'm alive, is I played my guitar a lot before this accident happened. And it happened, and I've lost so much memory, but I can still play you like C Phrygian scales and tell you the relative major key of that. Like, I remember my scale modes, I know chord progressions, chord forms on my guitar. It's unbelievable. Yeah, it's so cool. So like, I play my guitar and sometimes I just start laughing, like, how do I know to do this? I just don't know. It doesn't matter because I can still do it, but it's very unique to say the least. I would say the most important thing would be, don't jump to conclusions too fast. Like, you know, maybe someone says something to you and you don't like it, but there are things regarding that person who said it that you yourself don't know. And like, it could be something as simple as they got beeped at driving out of a parking lot or something in their car. But it also be as something as significant as what happened to me and a bunch of other people, like a brain injury, you know. So there are a variety of things that I kind of wish people would be more considerate of before they just snap to a conclusion about someone, because that has happened with me, with very few people. It's not a very common thing, but it's happened. And one time it got to the point where I actually took the person aside and explained to them, like, hey, listen, I didn't mean this by what I did. Like, this is just my natural reaction to what you said. I'm sorry if you're taking this the wrong way. Maybe, and then I explained my accent to them and be like, well, maybe that's why what I did came off incorrectly. Like, maybe my understanding isn't quite where you would assume it is. So it's just, I wish more people had a wider understanding of where other people are coming from and take that into consideration more than just looking at them and judging. Kind of basic stuff. A typical day for me is like someone who has actual responsibilities now. I usually wake up, drink coffee, shower, whatnot, and then I go to work. And then after work, usually I have, you know, household chores or whatnot, like, you know, do laundry, make dinner, that sort of thing. Maybe I'll go out and see friends. No, just kind of casual, the usual stuff. Nothing out of the ordinary. I think a brain injury presents to the injured person a very distinct change in how they view the world. So like, close to your injury initially, everything is just, well, for me, of course, everything was very chaotic. It was like, well, I don't want to deal with you, so just go away. And like, I would go out of my way to ignore people that upset me. But now it's like, well, that doesn't upset me anymore, so I'm not going to behave that way. Like, I don't have to, it just is more natural. It's not like a conscious effort to be like that. Honestly, I think the biggest thing was just, as my thought process became more clear, kind of came back, this might seem kind of shallow to say, but like, I just felt more confident about life.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, things are very chaotic and confusing closer to your injury. Like, you don't necessarily know what's going on. You can't really pick up other people's emotions or assume thoughts or kind of, you know, more normal person things like that. But as you get farther along in your healing process, you start to, you know, regain that ability to just understand more of what's going on. And I think that was, yeah, that was a powerful thing to notice. And then, for me at least, when I could identify that that was happening with myself, I definitely felt much more happier and confident with me. So it was a pretty powerful thing to notice. And nothing really prompted it, other than maybe situations with friends that I knew from my history with that friend that they were a good person. Like, they weren't trying to insult me or anything, or like no negative connotations with anything. And just me thinking of like, well, why did I think they were so cruel to me initially, and now I don't think that? So what changed? And I was like, well, did they do something? No, so that means I must have done it. And I was like, then kind of deduced that way.